tuning her assortment of guitars so she can play all the songs that we want to hear from her. So stick around. We'll be getting to some live Joni Mitchell music and conversation in just a bit. This is Mary Chapin Carpenter's latest ad.
It does. I'm smoking and drinking cappuccino here.
You got this little chapeau on and guitars strewn about. Welcome.
Thank you.
It is a big pleasure to have you with us. Turbulent Indigo, first new album since 1991's Night Ride Home. Turbulent Indigo, by the way, is out in the stores today, everywhere. So if you like what you hear Joni playing today, you can go buy it. It's on the Reprise record label. I hear a very natural progression from the last album due to production or things that were happening.
Production, we don't use that word. You know, my father was a grocer, and it always reminds me of the vegetable section. You know, it's really composition, so the composition is thinned out. So
there's a sound that you've had, especially in the last few albums, and I don't know how you do it, but the guitars almost sound like cellos. It's very rich and very warm, and it complements your voice and the lyrics. Are you going to be able to get that sound out of your guitars today, or is that a studio trick?
If you help me, I don't know, like what kind of a system you got. What do you think, sound man? Yeah, we got a little Elvis on it. Oh, we should be able to get close. As far as my voice goes, I had to do a meet and greet last night, so there's plenty of husk on it from screaming at people over high volume.
No,
I don't know that I can duplicate that, but I should be.
Last night you were meeting people at an art gallery to show some of your paintings. Is that going to be open to the public?
No, that was just kind of party decorations for the kickoff party.
So those paintings are
disappear into the void again.
Ah,
yeah,
into the attic somewhere.
Yeah, it's like a floating crap game.
Now you make art to hang on walls, but it's not being shown. But you do make.
Well, no,
art.
I've exhibited internationally, and I've sold some work in Tokyo at one point, but I got very good prices for it, which made it. And then the market dropped out, the bottom dropped out of the art market, so they're pricey, and I kind of like to hold on to them because I've got an exhibition coming up in Italy, and another one in Canada in the future. So it's hard to get them off people's walls when they, when people install pieces in their home, they don't want to part with them for a traveling exhibition.
Well, the nice thing is if you get the new album Turbulent Indigo, you can see your artwork as we've seen on your other albums. It's there.
Well, it's fun to use that blank space to have a little mini show.
It's your own little canvas, your own private canvas.
Yeah, it's like my own little gallery there, without all the art world crap. Hey, Rabbi.
I'm wondering, did you do the paintings during the same time that you were writing the songs, or did they just, by weird coincidence, happen to match up?
Well, I paint, I kind of crop rotate. So I have a place in Canada. When I go up there to write, which is the excuse that I have for going up there because it's rural and it's very peaceful. I go canoeing. There's a lot of wildlife. I generally paint when I'm up there. And when I'm painting, I'm thinking in terms of the album cover and the packaging. So some of it gets used. There's a line. Usually they say, okay, Joan, we know you're a fine artist. Stick your face on the cover. People don't really want paintings necessarily on the covers. Or at least in the past, I've heard complaint from the management, like not to get too artsy.
That's a hard thing to tell an artist.
Well,
it's a difficult boundary.
Well, Dog Eat Dog, for instance, had a large canvas, 10 foot by 5, all dogs, God dog, Jesus dog, and racial dogs in conflict and so on. I sold that painting in Tokyo. Gavin told me that, okay, Joe, we know you're an artist, but stick your picture on the cover. So I did a kind of a collage being attacked by wild dogs, and that was fun to do. So there were really 2 album covers for that, but he wanted my kisser on the cover, so I had to give it to him.
Well, we would love
the great patron spoke.
We would love to hear your voice in tune on the radio with guitars. Could you share a song with us?
I would love to hear that myself. We will see what we can do.
Joni Mitchell is our guest in the FM 101.9 Music Hall.
Okay, hang on. We don't want dead airspace here. I'm putting out my cigarette. So which one do you want to hear? I've got 6 ready to go here. Let me play something off the album.
And is this the one that opens the album?
Yeah, this is the opening cut.
Sunny Sunday.
Sunny Sunday. 1 second for tuning. Am I plugged in? No. 1 more second here. In the spaghetti is something that I need. She pulls the shade, it's just another sunny Sunday. She dodges the light like Blanche Dubois. But colors fade away on such a sunny Sunday. For the night to fall. Then she points a pistol through the door, and she aims at the street light while the freeway kisses. Dogs bark as the gun falls to the floor. The street light's still burning. She always misses. But the day she hits, that's the day she'll leave. That one little victory, that's all she needs. That's all she needs. She pulls the shade, it's just another sunny Monday. She waits for the night to fall. Thank you. Oh, yes, thank you very much.
Brand new stuff from Joni Mitchell, who is our guest in the music hall. There is a word in poetry, and I'm not sure what it is, when you make something animated that doesn't normally have life, like the freeway hisses.
Is that onomatopoetic? No. I forget all that scholarly stuff.
But it seems that your songs could almost stand alone as either poetry or prose. And I'm wondering if that's where the songs begin, with words.
No, they begin with music.
Really?
Yeah. They, generally speaking, there's one song on this album that was the exception, and that is Yvette in English. Crosby faxed me a bunch of snippets of thoughts and asked me to organize it. You know, like, he got lazy, he was making an album, so he wanted me to do all the work for him, you know.
That song was on his
I
album,
obliged
too.
him. Yeah. When you start with a melody first, you get a more unusual rhyme scheme. You know, the pattern, there is a rhyme to the music. There'll be like what they call it, an A figure. An A figure repeats, so you know that you've got a rhyme there. But it keeps you from going into iambic pentameter, you know, like, you know, it's like the traditional
it would be
English cadence.
The anti-rap. You're working more with the...
Yeah, rap is kind of formulated. I hear some deviant and experimental interesting stuff too, but yeah, it's kind of locked into a meter. That's an old tradition. You know, it's an old pimp's tradition, rap. My bitch is better than yours. They've been doing that for a long time.
There are a lot of Speaking of, there are a lot of violent images in your songs. The first couple songs on the album, I counted a couple guns, a pistol, a shotgun, a rifle. There's a song about domestic violence, Not to Blame. I'm wondering if these stories are in your head, or have you been touched, or has...
Where do you live?
I mean, I suppose we've all in some way been touched by violence and, and crime. Have you directly been affected?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding? I mean, you know, we draw stalkers down. I've been under armed guard for half my life. I'm completely nocturnal. I'm the night watch woman. But I've had follow home. I've been, well, you don't want to get into the whole thing. It's better not to even talk about it. But yeah, I've had my full taste of L.A.
So you know of what you speak when you write these things. They're not just imagination.
No. I'm pretty much a realist, I would say.
And that's reflected in your artwork?
Yeah, I guess so.
Because I was actually at your art opening last night, and I got to see more than just the pictures that are on the albums. And I only saw one famous face that I could recognize in a painting, and that was Jimi Hendrix. And the rest seemed
And Miles.
Oh, I didn't see that.
You didn't see Miles over by the bar?
No.
He was in the room there with Jimmy. Miles and Jimmy. Like.
And of course, your face is on some of your artwork, but a lot of outdoor scenes and the turbulent indigo.
Well, this particular batch was like an exercise in color, in the landscape, portraiture, kind of gearing up to do the album cover. I went back into my own version of the style of the late Van Gogh and Gauguin's era. Different color sense than theirs, of course. I mean, they were really vividing up the canvas in a shocking degree for the time. So my color is more subtle, but most of it was just celebration of the landscape. And since I'm not in the art game, I don't have to, do any conquering. I don't have to conquer any ground for the museum. I'm not shooting for the museums. They're just exercises, basically, that batch. In the 80s, I painted abstractly for the most of that decade. The early work in the early 80s was very autobiographical and pictorial and different kind of brush style than the work that you saw last night. I'm always painting and it's always changing, but I'm still developing my vocabulary since I have to do this alongside of an already active career. I'm a little behind, I think. I would have liked to have arrived at where I am now in my mid-30s, because I'm just on the brink of having ideas. It's a matter of getting your chops up so when your ideas arrive, that you're ready for them and you have your symbolic vocabulary, so you can take off like a Chagall or something and paint from your memory. There was one painting in the show last night that was done from memory of my little house in Canada with the clouds. It was a little more cartoony than the rest. You might have noticed it. And, that's where I hope to go. But first of all, you have to do your disciplines.
Are there times when the painting is all you're doing and you're not thinking about songwriting, or is music always there for you? Well,
even when I'm painting, I'll take a break, and if I don't take a smoke break, well, maybe I'll take a smoke break and then I'll take a guitar break, So I'm always like stroking on the guitar, petting it.
Well, I think the guitar is less dangerous near turpentine and things like that than smoking.
Yeah, although those guys all chain smoked, like Picasso. And he had a lung infection when he snuffed, but, he had a nice long run, didn't he?
And you certainly have too, Joni Mitchell. Could you sing another song for us? And you're more than welcome to play something from Turbulent Indigo, and we'd love to hear something from the archives as well.
Well, let's get ahead of ourselves. And this is a song for the next album. I haven't even recorded this one yet. But this was a collaboration with a fellow singer-songwriter from my hometown, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. The writer's name is Donald Freed, and I set his words to music. And this is called Love's Cries. And Saskatoon, where we come from, is called the City of Bridges, or the Paris of the North, they like to call themselves, But it is a pretty small city, and the bridges are all lit up at night. And this song takes place on the train bridge in downtown Saskatoon. stormy night. Everyone was at the wingding. They weren't the wingding type. So they went up on the train bridge where the weather was howling, and oh, oh, my, my. When that train comes rolling by, no paper thin walls, no folks about, no one else can hear love's cries. They were laughing, they were dancing in the rain. They knew their love was a strong one when they heard the far-off whistle of a train. They were hoping it was gonna be a long one, 'cause oh, oh, my, my. When that train comes rolling by, but thin walls, no folks about, no one else can hear love's cries. In the back booth of an all-night cafe, two dripping raincoats are hanging. Outside in the weather, the shade on the street light is clanging, and they smile ear to ear, eye to eye. Ice cream is melting on a piece of pie, and oh my, my, no one else can hear love's cries. Every kiss was sweet and strong. Every touch was totally tender as that train come rumbling along. They sang a lover's song of wild abandon. Oh, 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 my, my. When that train comes rolling by, no thin walls, no folks about, no one else can hear love's cries. No thin walls, no folks about, no one else can hear love's cries.
FM 101.9, also known as KSCA, Southern California's album alternative, and a Southern California treasure, Joni Mitchell with us in our music hall. You collaborated on that song, and I know you were saying you wrote Yvette in French with David Crosby. Do you do a lot of collaborative songwriting?
No, I haven't up until recently.
Is that difficult?
No, it was really easy. As a matter of fact, well, David called me up and he wanted me to produce him on his record. He was getting friends to produce a track each, and I said I don't produce, you know, like I just don't like the concept of it. But I can't be produced really, so like it would be hard for me to try and do that to someone. Okay, he said, well, I've got some words on a piece of paper, you know, would you help me make it into a song? So he faxed them to me, and I looked at them, and there were some good lines there. Really, there was no connection. It was a girl meets boy, and you know, a woman walks into a restaurant in France, and she offers him a little bit of instant bliss. There's some good descriptions of her. Then there were some cliches like the moon spilt like wine, and which I rewrote, and
got a big red circle around it.
I said to him, "What do you want me to do? You want me to schoolmarm on these things?" Yeah, you want me to mark your paper? Yeah, he said. So I started just correcting it, and then it became like a puzzle, and I ended up finding some meter and rhythm to the cadence of some of the lines that he used. So I fleshed it out. I gave it a little more description and gave the girl a name and, you know, a little bit more defined walk, and the music came easy. So I had a song in a couple of days. And I think is that the first time I ever collaborated as a writer? I haven't done that much.
I think as non-musicians, we have this romantic image that songwriting is this process where two people are in a room together, you know, bouncing ideas off. It's very interesting that you were not even, so to speak, in the same room when you did that.
all by the modern science.
How do you hook up with some of these interesting collaborations that you've had musically? Willie Nelson, Billy Idol have all sung on your records, and Seal sings on your new record, and I think you also sing on his.
Well, Willie and Billy, I cast for their voices.
You go out and say that you want them.
No, we make a phone call. I mean, you know, the powers that their people connect up. My people connect up with their people. But Willie, I thought, was perfect for that song because it's an old Sons of the Pioneers song, and his voice was warm and
that was on
just
Cool Water, right?
On Cool Water. Yeah. And Billy played the bully in that song. And, you know, my songs are like little plays. Sometimes they have he saids and she saids. And in the he said of that one, the guy was a bully. You're a push-button window. I can run you up and down anytime I want to. So Billy's voice of all the characters on the scene at that time, I think, was the most appropriate. People thought it was really strange and not listening to it as a drama. People aren't used to listening that carefully to songs, even songwriters. Because Graham Nash said to me, what did you put him on there for? And Prince said, who's that guy hooping and hollering all over that record, you know? So it took a bit of getting used to, but Billy thought it was strange himself until he came down and I told him the words over the phone, and he realized that he was right for it. He liked the text, and it was fun.
Well, if the art and music don't work out, you have a future as a voice casting director. Add it to your resume. Seal is a very unique performer. Had you had any sort of relationship with him prior to hooking up, or was this just another cold call?
No, and the others weren't cold calls. I mean, they were inspired calls, I would say. But no, that was different. Seal kind of sought me out. I mean, as he was giving his first interviews, he mentioned my music a lot after Crazy, and one song in particular, Strange Boy. And so we were introduced by, there was a party held for him, and I was invited to be there. And we just hit it off. We became good friends. So when our projects came up, we were mutually interested in each other's work. And I went over to listen to him work one night when he was just at the beginning of his project. And the collaboration just kind of fell into place as we went along.
It must be a little bit strange that these people are strangers to you, but you're not strangers because you're musicians, and that bonds you. I know that there are a lot of musicians, particularly young women, who grew up in their bedrooms listening to your music and have therefore been influenced by you. Shawn Colvin, was that maybe a little bit creepy the first time you heard her sing because she has many similarities to you?
See, I can't hear those things. I think Shawn's very much her own person. I don't hear any similarity. We play guitar very differently, and I think we sing very differently. I don't hear these things.
Now, what were you listening to or reading in your bedroom in Canada growing up?
I was listening to Miles, Lambert Hendricks and Ross. I was a rock and roll dancer, but I listened to that. It's like, you know, I give it an 85, you can dance to it. I mean, I listened to that really for the beat, you know, so I liked rock and roll indiscriminately for the rhythm. Chuck Berry. I didn't have a lot of records. People didn't have a lot of records back then. I used to win dance contests, and they'd give me all these slough-offs from the radio station. Shuffle in the gravel. The things that didn't make it.
Now, did that make you somewhat of an outcast, being this girl in her bedroom listening to jazz? And
Well, I didn't spend that much time in my bedroom as a teenager. No, I was mostly out dancing and over at the Avenue H swimming pool where there was a jukebox. Wherever there was a jukebox, I was, and it was mostly on the other side of town where I wasn't supposed to go. The best dancers were on the other side of town where I wasn't supposed to go. And they danced with the Harlem Lindy, which was a great dance step that Erin Neville's sister told me that her mother and father invented.
Oh, wow.
Which may or may not be true, but it was a great partner-style dance. And where I come from, they called it the bop. In Manchester, England, they called it the jive. But basically, it's the Harlem Lindy. So, but I didn't stay in the house much. I didn't spend a lot of time in my boudoir.
You never know, Joni Mitchell is our guest in the FM 101.9 Music Hall, and if you're ready, we'd love to hear another one.
Okay, let's see. I've got an array of guitars around here because of the tunings. I have to put them into families. It kind of complicates playing, but it makes the guitar more orchestral. Let's play one off the album here.
And Turbulent Indigo is the new album, and as we mentioned before, it is out today, first day in the stores for Joni Mitchell's new album on Cries Records. This is FM 101.9.
This is a song called Sex Kills. Cheery little ditty.
License plate, it said just ice. His justice just ice, governed by greed and lust. Just the strong doing what they can, and the weak suffering what they must. And the gas leaks, and the oil spills. Sex sells everything, and sex kills. Oh, sex kills. Doctors' pills give you brand new ills, and the pills bury you like an avalanche. And lawyers haven't been this popular since Robespierre slaughtered half of France. And Indian chiefs with their old beliefs know that the balance is undone. Crazy irons, you can feel it out in traffic. Everyone hates everyone, and the gas leaks, and the oil spills. Sex sells everything. Sex kills. Oh, sex kills. All these jack-offs at the office, the rapist in the pool, oh, and the tragedies in the nurseries. Kids packing them to school. The ulcerated ozone, these tumors of the skin. It's a hostile sun beating down on the massive mess we're in. And the gas leaks, and the oil spills. Sex sells everything. Sex kills.
Special edition of the FM 101.9 Music Hall this afternoon with our guest Joni Mitchell. That one also on the new album Turbulent Indigo. Sex kills, sex sells.
Sex sells. Yeah.
There was an article in a recent Rolling Stone magazine where they talked to a lot of women musicians, the kind of musicians who aren't really consciously using sex to sell, people like Chrissie Hynde, and they were all talking about you, and I'm surprised that you weren't approached for this article. Everybody was saying, you know, Joni Mitchell is an underrated guitarist and influence, and I don't want to misquote her, but I think Chrissie said something like, Joni, put down the paintbrush, we need you, come back.
Yeah, oh, that was very sweet. It really was nice of her.
Yeah, so it's nice to have you back.
Thank you.
New album. Are there any plans to play live in front of more than this little intimate setting we have here today?
Oh, I would love to. You know, like my health is iffy. I'm a polio survivor, and that is a kind of a mysterious phenomenon. You know, like it does strange things to your nervous system. You don't adapt to temperature changes. You become allergic to air conditioning. It makes for a lot of touring hassles. A lot of flying is really, really hard on your organism as a result. It's kind of like multiple sclerosis. Mm-hmm. Very similar, the symptoms to it. If it was a more impromptu thing, I mean, if you could just drop in and play. I've been doing some of that, and I enjoy very much playing for people. But getting locked into a schedule and having to cancel, which could happen at a certain point, is kind of scary to me. I mean, you hate to let people down, and you don't like your life planned that far forward in a certain way. It makes it tricky.
Well, I think we're pretty lucky to be here in L.A. where you live, so that if you should decide at some point to impromptu do something, you know, you could give us a call and we could mention it on the radio, and we could all have a chance to see this.
Well, I like little clubs better than the big stage too. There's a lot of pressure on the big stage. They're always laying for your clams, you know. Glenn Gould finally said, you know, it was just too much of a blood arena for him. He finally quit. You know, there's something about the pressure of the perfection, you know, the 10 performance related, the bigger the stage gets. Also, I would have no desire, nor would I be suitable as an arena artist. You know, it's too intimate an art form for such a big scale. So, I don't know. It's hard to. It's like I'm too big for the little clubs, unless I just kind of sneak in on them. You know, like I want to play. I'll figure out a way how.
Good. Any plans for a video to promote the album?
Yeah, we cut. In the process of cutting a video together for, what's the one we released?
How Do You Stop?
How Do You Stop, right.
And that is on the album Turbulent Indigo. Would you like to do another one?
Yeah, let's see what else is in this tuning. This is a kind of an older one. This is called Moon at the Window from Wild Things. Betsy's blue, she says, tell me something good. You know I'd help her out if I only could. But sometimes the light can be so hard to find. At least the moon at the window, the thieves left that behind. People don't know how to love. They taste it and toss it. Turn it off and on like a bathtub faucet. Ooh, sometimes the light can be so hard to find. At least the moon at the window, the thieves left that behind.
I know these battles deep in the dark when the spooks of memories rattle. Ghosts of the future, phantoms of the past, rattle, rattle, rattle in the spoon and the glass. Is it possible to learn how to care and yet not care? Since love has two faces, hope and despair, and pleasure always turns to fear, I find at least the moon at the window the thieves left that behind. Moon at the window, they left that behind. At least they left the moon behind the blind. Moon at the window.
This is KSCA Glendale, Los Angeles, the new FM 101.9. In our music hall with us is Joni Mitchell. We're going to check and see if we have any commercials that we need to run, and that might give you a needed break. Oh, we don't? Well, look at that.
I don't need a break.
It's the Joni Mitchell Show. Fine, just come in here and take over. You have, and you could, because you have such a deep, deep body of work. What is it that draws you to certain songs that you feel are still worthy of playing?
Oh, I remember them. No, it's...
Another fine answer.
Well, I have 50 different tunings for the guitar. So I have 3 guitars here. I have them in tuning families. Obviously, if I'm going to do more material, I need a lot more guitars, or otherwise I have to expose you to a tremendous amount of, on the airwaves. So that limits what I can play. I find most of the songs hold up, even the ones that I think of as ingenue roles, like The Writing of a Young Woman, like Circle Game. I wouldn't choose to put that in my repertoire, although people kind of coax me. They have sentimental memories of from summer camp or something. But I sang it with a bunch of middle-aged women up at the Edmonton Folk Festival, and it was really nice. It really was. So it's hard to say. There are some songs that you're more into at one time than another, but a lot of them hold up pretty good.
Is there anything back there that just makes you cringe and you're like, what was I thinking when I wrote that? Who was I?
No, I see some changes in craft from like the first album. And the first album had a lot of grace notes. It's very tricky to play it. It's like to get my fingers to go back. My stroke has become bolder. It's more rock influenced as I go along, more jazz influenced as I go along. Than that very early work is very, very intricate. It's almost like oud playing, and it's hard to remember what I did exactly. Some of it's pretty eccentric stuff. So that's harder to work up. One day you'll just kind of stumble on it. All of a sudden the fingers will remember and they'll start going over those things. Oh, that's how I did it. I've got most of the tunings documented, but there are a few songs that I haven't got a clue how I played them. Joel Bernstein knows, though, thank God. He can show me. He's kind of like my annex brain. He holds on to data better than I do. But no, I think a lot of them are pretty human and universal, and they I still like to sing them.
Well, the nice thing about music and the difference, I guess, maybe between music and a painting is you can go back and change it, and it can continue to grow. Mm-hmm. Change a line, change a phrasing. Well, I think we have time for some more music.
Okay. Let's see. Let me get this little guy here.
Again, it's Joni Mitchell with us in the FM 101.9 Music Hall. plugging in.
I'll play you a brand new song. This is a song called Facelift. Actually, the full title of it is Happiness is the Best Facelift. I played just for the fun of it at Milton Berle's 86th birthday not that long ago, and it was really great because it was a roundup of all the old comics. Steve Allen, I mean, all of the old and young, you know. And I looked out at that audience, and you know, in Hollywood here, you know, if you hit middle age, it's like pretty much time to go for the old nip and tuck. But these were like Robbie stroking his beard. We could kind of a private joke on that one, but I mean, I saw faces there that had been lifted one too many times. You know what I mean? It's like, but this really doesn't have much to do with that. Have you ever seen when with the tattooed eyebrows, like where the eyebrows are like long gone? They've gone up into the scalp somewhere, and the navel is appearing in the chin. Okay, here we go. Here we don't go. I gotta get this tuning just a little better. When I'm playing this thing, I think of the three bottom strings as cellos. You mentioned that earlier, and the treble as a brass section. So viola is towards the fourth and the fifth in the middle. Cello's on the bass, and muted trumpets I always think of as the top three strings. Almost. Sorry out there in Radio Land. Forgive me, forgive me. I went so numb on Christmas Day I couldn't feel my hands or feet. I shouldn't have come, she made me pay for gleaming with Donald down her street. She put blame on him and shame on me. She made it all seem so tawdry and cheap. Oh, let's be nice, Mama. Open up your gifts, you know. Happiness is the best facelift. I mean, after all, she introduced us. Oh, but she regrets that now. Shacked up downtown, making love without a license. Same old sacred cow. She said, did you come home to disgrace us? I said, why is this joy not allowed? Some middle-aged mama and time moves swift, and you know happiness is the best facelift.
Love takes so much courage, love takes so much shit. He said, you've seen too many movies, Joni. She said, snap out of it. Oh, the cold winds blew at our room with a view, so helpful and hopeful and candlelit. We kissed the angels in the moon eclipsed, you know. Happiness is the best facelift. Pushed the bed against the window to see the Christmas lights on the east bank across the steaming river, between the bridges lit up Paris light. This river has run through both our lives, between these banks of our continuing delights. Bless us, don't let us lose the drift, you know. Happiness is the best facelift.
Joni Mitchell with us in our FM 101.9 Music Hall, and that one didn't make it on the album.
No, it came later.
Oh. You know, with 10 songs, you couldn't just go one more to 11.
No, because then the company robs you, you know. Yeah. It's true, you gotta get savvy, you know.
We're going to jump in and do some commercials here while we regroup and hopefully get another song or two out of our guest, Joni Mitchell. Rich? Joni Mitchell with us in our FM 101.9 Music Hall. I'm Merilee Kelly. Joni was just off mic doing her Miles Davis impression. And we sort of got started talking about jazz, and I know it's been a big influence of yours. And apparently you're going to educate me because there's this amazing Mingus story that you've got to tell.
Well, gee, there's a lot of them, but there's one that's kind of long but colorful. When I met Charlie, he was paralyzed. He was in a wheelchair. And he had Lou Gehrig's disease, so he was degenerating quickly. And when the AMA failed, he went to Mexico, to Cuernavaca, and came into the healing territory of a kind of a female witch doctor in Mexico City named Bachita. Bachita was a great herbalist, and Charles had a lot of side effects from drugs and things that he'd taken, and she fixed him up pretty good on that level. But one Sunday, we, as an entourage, Charles and his wife, Sue, and one of his sons, Eugene, and his nurse, we went into Mexico City, and Charles had an appointment with Bachita that evening. And we went to a bullfight first, and it was the first bullfight that I'd ever seen. And there was also an Italian, Daniele Senatore, friend of Charles's, who was there. And it looked like a normal bullfight as the day began. It was all sun-drenched, the way you see the posters in the arenas in Spain or Mexico. We gathered in the bleachers, and Charles was behind me up in the aisle in his wheelchair with his nurse, and I was shooting pictures of him in a pocket mirror so that I would get the arena in the front and his expressions. When the first bull came into the arena, Charles started crying because he was a Taurus, and he identified with the bull. The bull is going to die, and he started crying like crazy. Well, when he started crying, it began to rain, and people didn't come with umbrellas. These vendors came out of the woodwork selling little packaged raincoats with hoods, transparent plastic, so that we all began to look like confectionery as the thing went on. People in turquoise, transparent raincoats, and yellow and green. So it had an unusual look to it. Now, there were 3 fights. The first one was disgusting. The bull was weak. They overbled him. He just had no spunk at all, and the matador was completely clumsy, and the spear came right out through the neck. I mean, he didn't hit the target. It was disgusting. I thought, ugh, how can people watch this stuff, Then the second one was, the bull was very brave, and the matador got gored. It threw him up into the air, and he came down, like they carried him off on a stretcher. I thought, this is disgusting. disgusting. How could people watch this? So the third fight was a novice, a young boy, and it looked different when he came out because he didn't come out alone. And he came out with a lot of people, and then the bull came in. There was something different about it. And the bull came out just prancing. He was young and strong, and let me at him, and he was prancing. He was looking around, and he spotted the boy. And the audience all stood up, and I don't know anything about bullfights, but this is what it looked like to me. They all said, get those other guys out of there, let the boy have it. I don't know whether it was his first fight or what, but everybody left. And now the poetry, you know, The Boy and the Beast unfolded, and it was a tight ballet, exquisite, you know, both the animal and the boy, and even the kill was relatively graceful, you know. And after that, we went over to Bachita's. Bachita lived in the heart of Mexico City. There was a long lineup of sick people, and I'm real frail, you know. I was trying not to breathe. You know, I thought there's germs around here, man, you know, like God knows what I'm picking up. It was freezing out. We could see our breath. Daniele had a bottle of tequila, which he kept passing back and forth. Well, we worked our way up to the lobby of the house, and there were 2 German shepherds on the roof barking down at us, which is a thing that I saw quite a bit in Mexico, dogs on the roof barking down because they have colonnades, stairs going up from ground level. Frequently dogs are barking down, which is kind of how I think of Mexico. And they caught us with this bottle of tequila, and the powers that be kind of rushed us through into the house, which was dark. The house was dark, and we had to go, it was a normal-sized house with normal-sized hallways, and we had to step over bodies all wrapped in sheets like cocoons, entering into this operating amphitheater. We must have stepped over about 6 or 7 recuperative, I think, hopefully not corpses, victims, you know, of Bachita. We stepped over these bodies wrapped in white sheets, and we entered a room.
This is somebody's home?
Yeah, this is a healer in Mexico City.
Okay.
There were 1,000 candles blazing, maybe more. Very Catholic in there. And there was an operating table. They hoisted Charles, who was a heavy man, up onto his side. His back was to us. They put a sheet over him and then pulled it back as if he was open in the front. They removed his shirt. Then Bachita took 2 knives and she kind of flipped them through the candlelight above her head, like scraping them like together, very theatrically. And then it was just like the bullfight again. Then she gouged him in the gut. Blood flew all over all of us. There was a rain of blood, and it was very brief. Then she bandaged Charles up around the middle, and it was all very dark in this room. The whole operation was in silhouette. They were backlit with candles, and the blades were flashing, and the blood was flying. And as we entered back out into the patio, I looked at the blood on me. I said to myself, uh-oh, this is not Charles's blood. You know, it's old. It was like chicken blood or something. It was theater. And Sue and Daniele looked at themselves. We all got the thing at the same time. We thought, oh dear, you know, because so much of this depends on faith. The concept was that she had reached in and pulled the disease out of him, you know. So we could not allow our lack of faith or our savvy or our insight to interfere in this healing process. And also there was no blood on the bandage. Eugene knew that the bandage was to come off in several days, and that Charles was going to want to see blood on it, you know. So while he was sleeping, we put ketchup on it. The idea being, you know, we pull it off real fast and he won't notice. So, I mean, that was... and from there I went to George O'Keeffe's. The next 3 days I spent, well, actually the next week, I went from Cuernavaca to George O'Keeffe. But that's another tale for another day.
That sounds... That sounds like a dream or some
it was very dreamlike.
Surrealistic movie.
It was.
You're not making this up.
No.
This is something you experienced.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, now we know where all this comes from. You know, you absorb these things that happen and they come out of your guitar and your mouth. Wow. And, you know, I was going to ask you, what do you do between records? But I don't think I want to know. If this is what your life is like, that was a poetic story.
Yeah, it really was. And Charles died several months later in Mexico. And this is something that Sue told me. He died at the age, I believe, of 56. I'm not good with numbers, so I may have screwed up my facts a little bit here. But suddenly, a group of whales beached themselves on a beach in Mexico, and they kind of washed up and died. 56 whales washed up. On the day that he was cremated, that they were removed by fire. So there was something, Charles led a mystical life, so did O'Keeffe. I mean, the journey from Cuernavaca to Abiquiu was lined with balloons, like hot air balloons. The day that I went was the hot air balloon day of the year. So all the way from, those whole 3 weeks, I'd like to write a book and illustrate it of those 3 weeks, because they were such an enchanted pocket, and such great artists, in the last days of their life, and such a charge of color surrounded them.
Those are images I'm sure you couldn't forget.
No.
If you can articulate them with words, then I can't even imagine what they would look like.
Well, I tried to paint the bullfight with Charles like that, but it's hard to get that much information into one square thing, but I did make an attempt.
Joni Mitchell is our guest this afternoon, and I don't know, you've done about 5 or 6 songs. Could we get one more out of you?
Yeah, I'll play you, let's see, I need to change the tuning slightly here.
Lately I don't count on nothing, I just let things slide. The station master shuffling cards, boxcars are banging in the yards. Jealous loving will make you crazy if you can't find your goodness, 'cause you lost your heart. 'Cause you lost your heart. Looking for a cause, for a strong cat without claws, or any reason to resume, and I found this empty seat in this crowded waiting room. I found everybody waiting. There's an old man sleeping on his banks, women with that teased up kind of hair, kids with the jitters in their legs and those wide, wide open stares. And the kids got Cokes and chocolate bars. There's a thin man smoking a fat cigar. Jealous loving will make you crazy if you can't find your goodness, 'cause you lost your heart. 'Cause you lost your heart. In this roll down blind, I got this fold up sink, and these rocks and these cactuses going by, and a bottle of German wine to drink. I'm gonna settle down in to heed. Dreaming of the pleasure I'm gonna have, watching your hairline recede, my vain darling, watching your hair in clouds and stars, rocking away in a sleeping car. Oh, jealous loving's gonna make me crazy. I can't find my goodness, I lost my heart. Oh, sour grapes, 'cause I lost my heart.
Very nice to hear that one again. Joni Mitchell has been our guest for a good part of the last hour in our FM 101.9 Music Hall. And wow, it's really been a pleasure. I wish you could stay all day.
Thanks.
You have a new album out called Turbulent Indigo. Comes out today.
Mm-hmm.
We wish you the best of luck with it.
Thank you very much.
And if anybody has just caught the last portion of this, we will be rebroadcasting the Music Hall performance at 9 o'clock tonight. So that's the deal on that. Joni Mitchell, our guest in the FM 101.9 Music Hall.